Can you see me and hear me clearly?
Hello. Yes, I can see you.
Hello.
Namaste.
Great. Good morning.
Namaste.
So let's begin. Yeah, let's begin our session for today. Sit comfortably. Keep your back and neck straight. And very gently close your eyes. Just start connecting with your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Slowly shift your attention to your body. Become aware of the posture of your body. Align yourself.
Here? Yeah, I'm still hearing it. Yeah, use it to twist a bit. It's good now.
Gently come back to your breathing. Now begin to deepen your breath. We're going to go for slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. We will open today's session by chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Stay with the vibrations. Join both your palms together. You can do rub both your palms. Keep both the palms on your eyes. Very slowly while blinking. Looking at your palms. Open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile. Om Shanti. So let us begin our session for today. So yesterday's class was all about Karma Yoga, and today's class is about Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are two of the most easily practiced forms of yoga. So no matter what you do, what believe in, what you don't believe in, it doesn't matter. Bhakti yoga and karma yoga are the two schools that will fit no matter what you believe in or no matter what you do. Okay, if you believe in one particular thing, you can still practice bhakti yoga. If you believe in another one, you can practice bhakti yoga in that way. And same, if you are living your day-to-day life, you are preparing yourself for you know living you're preparing yourself in the practices of yoga, then bhakti yoga, karma yoga, both of them are quite relevant for us. And you will see in most people's lives, bhakti yoga and karma yoga is going on only, right? So whatever god you believe in and whatever thing that you believe in, you show some devotion towards it. Now in this thing, I'm not just specifically talking about god, but anything. When you believe in something in your life, you show devotion towards it. And once you show devotion towards it, you put in your work in that aspect, you see results, right? And karma yoga is so important because all the time you have to put in the work. You are living your life every day by doing some work. If you are a student, you are studying. If you are a working professional, you are working on something, right? So at all points of time, bhakti and karma yoga will be very easy to infuse into your life when it comes to the concept of yoga. So let's just write down the topic first, and then we will talk more deeply about it. Bhakti yoga, BHAKTI. The term bhakti has been derived from the root word bhaj. Okay. Sorry, the connection broke. Okay. So we were writing the root word. The root word is bhaj, BHAJ, which this term literally means loving service. So bhakti yoga is the path of devotion. If you hadn't already guessed it, it's the path of devotion. And if you open Bhagavad Gita, you will, when you go to the 12th chapter, you will be able to find deeply about this concept of Bhakti Yoga. So now by the 12th chapter, I told you there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So by the 12th chapter, Krishna has already in a lot of ways answered Arjun why he should fight the war, right? But still there was something or the other which was again and again bothering Arjun. So at this point of time, Lord Krishna in the text he says that, you know what, do nothing, surrender yourself to me. Okay, because now I am guiding you, I am your guru. Don't think, don't logic, um, approach it logically. Do not look for any kind of answer, or don't think that reasoning will make sense. Or I am telling you that you have to fight the war. So your work as a, or your duty as a student who is diligently following the teacher is to surrender yourself to me. And because you surrender yourself to me and I am asking you to do a particular action, then you can go ahead and do that action. Okay, so that is how Krishna ji eventually nudges Arjun to understand. And you will see by the end of Bhagavad Gita, Arjun actually at the end actually surrenders to Lord Krishna and when goes to fight. Okay, so finally he leaves everything and he goes into a sense of surrender only. But in the 12th chapter, Krishna ji, elaborately explains, and he says that for him the best kind of yoga practice is Bhakti Yoga. Okay, somebody who out of all the yogis, the one that is most dear to him is the yogi who is choosing to surrender themselves into him, right? Bhakti Yoga might seem very easy, and Bhakti Yoga also might seem very crazy if you have not experienced it. Like yesterday, I was talking about language, and I was saying that if I am speaking English and you understand English, right? That is when the communication will become successful, right? If you don't understand English, then I might have to speak in another language, right? So, in the same way, the Bhakt has their own language, their own kind of, connection with God. And somebody who is not a Bhakt will not be able to understand it. So, that is why a lot of people who, are very devoted followers. From the external world, the other people they think that this person has gone crazy or gone mad, right? So I myself am an example of this thing. So in my family, the practices of Bhakti Yoga have been quite strong, right? So my grandparents were deeply, and especially my grandmother, she was deeply into Bhakti Yoga. And when I was little, I used to question her and I used to, bug her a lot. And I used to ask her, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why do you do this thing? Why do you do that thing? And she, till a certain point, she explained the things to me. But after that, she just left me. She did not answer me. She went back to, either repeating the name of the god or whatever practices she used to do, because she understood that this kind of curiosity can never be settled through mere answering, right? So later on, a stage in or point in my life in itself came where I experimented with the practices of Bhakti Yoga, and I that is when I understood, why people practice Bhakti Yoga, right? So the concept of Bhakti Yoga is very beautiful, and again, you have to experience it. Otherwise, you will think people are just going crazy. Okay, Bhakti Yoga is targeting the most essential and the purest emotion within a human being, right? That is the emotion of love. Okay, the pure love. So somebody who is very emotional in nature, first thing Bhakti Yoga is for them. And second thing, through the practices of Bhakti Yoga, you clean yourself. Okay, so you touch the purity of love. So right now, what is happening is there is love. Okay, everything that you do every day, the something we are all driven by something, right? So it is love which is driving us. You will see, people do so many things just so that they can be loved a little bit more. But right now, what is happening? This love, it is having the mixture, okay? Mixture of all of the other things. And then there is a component of the pure love, right? And pure love is, when you are exposed to it, when you come in contact with it, you understand that, because that is essentially what you are looking for, right? That is the nature of your pure self, you can say, right? So right now, pure love is just one portion. Sorry. And then there is so much dirt. It's like milk that is, we are mixing other things in the milk and then selling it, right? So now, right now, there are a lot of chemicals. Maybe we have mixed water also, one, two more things, and then we are selling it as, um, we are selling that as love, right? But no, the love of the bhakt is very pure in nature. And even if in the beginning, it doesn't seem to be that pure, through the practices of bhakti yoga, you know, you cleanse yourself so much that you reach that purity, right? And love is so essential in our lives, right? Isn't it? When you meet someone you really love, it shows in the way in which you look at that person. Maybe it could be your parents, maybe it could be your siblings, some friend, or maybe even a partner, right? So there are different forms of love, right? But the main thing that is happening in all of these relations is the love that is being maintained, right? So when you meet someone you really love, right, your expression, your way of conduction is totally different, right? And it is so important. A lot of people today, they are struggling because they are unable to show that they actually love somebody. They are able to show their anger, their jealousy, everything they are able to show, but they miss out on showing the love, right? The pure emotion is so important to see, right? Once you recognize that all the things you are doing, it's to attain little bit more love, you immediately, get connected to this thing that, all the other emotions that you are showing, they're just a way of expression of the love. But right now, because of some reason or the other, you are not able to express the love properly, right? So Osho has talked a lot about the pure love, and also about how, the different emotions that we show. Suppose I get very angry at my father or my parents, right? So means I love them, right? Otherwise, why would I be angry, right? I will only be angry at people I really love, right? But then at the same time, I don't know the correct way of showing that love. I could have shown the love in itself, right? But because of some reason or the other, that love came out in the form of anger. So Osho says very beautifully that, all the emotions that you show, they are just layers of love. They just constantly remind you that there is love. Okay. And once you work on the cleaning through the practices, so there are many practices in Bhakti Yoga, right? Um, and Bhakti Yoga is very enjoyable also. Okay, both the things. So Bhakti Yoga has multiple practices. You can chant the mantras, you can go for kirtans, you can go for dancing, you can go for singing, you can go for you know stories, so kathas, right? So whichever god you really love, you choose that you want to devote yourself to this particular god, right? You will see a lot of people, they devote themselves for their entire lives to a particular god. So you can go read these stories, you can go attend different you know uh, functions or gatherings where the god is talked of, right, and their stories are told. So this helps you to do what you this helps you to know more about the person you have devoted yourself to. And what this does is it highlights the qualities, right? So if I'm a follower of Jesus, suppose, so most people they follow blindly, okay, but the main characteristic which I should focus on when I say I'm a follower of Jesus, it's a very big thing and it's a very beautiful thing. So my every action that I do, every interaction that I have, it should have unconditional love, no? Because Jesus is a great example of unconditional love, right? So people are right now fighting over the text. They are fighting over what was written and how it's not in alignment with something else that was written, and you know what my people get in debate, I have a book, they also have a book, right? So they are fighting over these things, but they forget when they are a follower of some god, then their main work is actually to imbibe the qualities of that god, right? So if you are a Shiv devotee, suppose, then you should see his stories. Shiv, he you know took the poison and he drank that poison, and it was that thing, it was so poisonous that he turned blue, right? His throat turned blue. That is why he's also called Neelkant, right? And rather than the conflict, he chose to take the poison, right, to solve the conflict, right? And he was so he had purified himself so much that even in taking the poison, right, his body could bear that thing. Right now, I'm not asking you to go ahead and do these things just to check. I'm saying look at the person who is standing in a conflict and who, you know, chose to solve the conflict. If you look at Ram's example, how he, left his kingdom. He was supposed to be, he was the rightful king, but he left his kingdom behind. Right? So these are admirable qualities. It's not that easy to do, right? When you have such a big kingdom to take care of and you are the rightful heir to that throne. But he left that thing behind, right? So when you look at the God, when you select the god you want to devote yourself to, you look at the qualities, and every day it is the task of the bhakt to develop those qualities, right? If you read about stories of Mirabai, Tulsidas, these are great bhakts, Hanuman, right? You will see great examples in Bible. I think Moses was a very good example of how he devoted himself, right, to Jesus, and he followed everything that Jesus was guiding him to do. And you will see that uh, the devotee, also gets a lot of powers because of this thing, because God grants them those powers to move ahead in their journey, right? So the grace of the God that they are following becomes an essential part of their journey, right? Now I'm giving you very few examples, most of them like from the tradition that I have been exposed to, and few others, right? But you will constantly find examples of devotion, right? Hidden here or there, right? So if you feel you are if you are an emotional person, and if you feel that you know you want to strengthen the emotion of love within you, right, then at that if you come to this conclusion, and if you like this school of yoga, this is the one for you. Osho has also again given a lot of mm, talked about Bhakti Yoga, and he has compared the Bhakt and the Hatha Yogi. So you are right now practicing Hatha Yoga, one variation of Hatha Yoga. So you guys are Hatha Yogis, right? So Osho says that Hatha Yogi will build up these stairs, right? The Hatha Yogi builds up the stairs, first establishes the body, then works on prana, then moves to mudras, then does other things. So building up these steps, right? Steps to do what? Finally surrender only. Okay. And the bhakt, wherever they are, the bhakt realizes that they don't have to do the building, right? They can already jump, right? They can already jump and surrender, right? And it is very difficult to surrender if you actually see. If right now I tell you, do this thing for 1 year, right? It will require so much sense of surrender for you guys towards what I have said, right? So that you follow it for 1 year, right? So this is a very minute example that I'm giving right now, just to give you a reality check, right? If somebody who is guiding you, who is teaching you, they say that, do this for 1 year continuously. Even that, you will begin to question, you will uh, ask me why is she saying this thing, and you will say this was not possible for me, right? So right now already there are so many barriers, so we don't know even a little bit about what surrendering is, right? Surrendering is a very seems very easy, but it is quite difficult in nature, because we are used to having some sense of control, right, over whatever is happening to us, right? So Bhakt merely does because they believe that they are, you know, just doing the things as an offering to God. Hence, if you ever interact with a Bhakt, they will always, it will be a very pleasant kind of interaction. Why? Because when they are doing the interaction with you, they have this understanding that they are, doing this interaction basically between themselves and the other person. It's just a way of offering something to God, or the way in which they conduct themselves, that in itself is an offering that is given to God. Okay, so they conduct themselves in this way. I would say that if you want to understand Bhakti Yoga more deeply, you should go for some practices, right? So over here, like in the school, we have, ISKCON kirtans. They are very beautiful. There is a lot of chanting of mantras, and there is music, there is singing, there is dancing, and it's a beautiful experience. So if you ever get any opportunity in your life, go become a part of a kirtan. You will understand what I'm talking about, right? So not specifically just ISKCON. Go become a part of any kind of kirtan, any kind of dance, right? So in India, most of the dance forms, the traditional dance forms, were actually, offerings to God, right? They were ways of, um, the dances were like to please the gods, right? You can say this thing. So it is beautiful, it is fun. Most people enjoy Bhakti Yoga, and it is quite powerful in its nature. When logically everything seems to fade away, right? Bhakti Yoga comes in very strongly, right? When you are, you are helpless. Like so many people in COVID, they were helpless, right? They were praying to God only, right? So this is a form of Bhakti Yoga only. So as per Bhagavad Gita, there are two types of bhaktis. Okay, so Krishnaji, he divided them into two. He called the first one apara. This is the lower form, APARA. If you have any questions, queries, doubts, please feel free to unmute yourselves, type in the chat box. I will be more than happy to address your queries. Right, so Apara Bhakti, this is the lower form of Bhakti as per Lord Krishna. So in this, the beginner, generally the beginner level student, they generally start with very mechanical practices, like repetition of the mantras every day, or going to the temple every day, paying a visit to the temple, going over there, sitting for some time, repetition of mantras, reading of certain books, right? So these are quite mechanical in nature, and beginner has to, initially might feel that everything is quite mechanical. Okay, and this is only because initially the emotion you still have to there is so much dirt on that basic pure emotion that things seem mechanical. Okay, you are unable, you find yourself that okay, I'm doing this every day, but maybe you don't feel very very connected in the beginning, right? Some people from the beginning only they feel very connected, some take some time. Okay, so when you look at the practices of Bhakti, Apara Bhakti is more about the lower form of Bhakti where you are doing the mechanical practices, and you have to, for your own purification, you have to like repeat the name of the God, everything, right? This form of bhakti naturally transcends into the next form. So it's like two levels of same video game, right? And it turns into para. This is the higher form. P-A-R-A, para bhakti. This is the higher form of bhakti. Yes. So what happens over here in para bhakti is that initially the person was going for the mechanical practices, and at one point of time what happened, they are actually able to understand, oh, this is going on. Okay, so when this thing happens, again you cannot force it. When this thing happens, then you have entered the beyond. Okay, so yeah, so when you start connecting with the essence of the aparabhakti, that turns into parabhakti. Okay, so like I gave you the example, no, when some bhakt is going to come and talk to you, you are actually going to feel that thing, that the bhakt is talking to you in a certain way and communicating in a certain way, right? So now you are moving beyond these practices, the mechanical practices, and now you are actually able to see this thing. So you remove the dust so much that you reach a point where now you are more in touch with the essential emotion, the emotion of love, right? So what starts happening? The bhakt sees God in everyone, right? That is why you will see they never interact disrespectfully, they never interact with any level of they're not condescending in their approach. They are very much down to earth, and they are interacting in a very beautiful manner with everyone, because now they see that the essential quality, right, of everything is one only, right? So now this realization, if I say it, you know about it. Okay, but you cannot um, experience it when I say this, right? When you reach to the experience, it changes completely. Everything changes completely, right? Um, there is no coming back from that experience, right? It's like there are some things that happen in your life after which you completely change your approach, how you are dealing with the things, right? So, in that same way, right, when you touch parabhakti, there is no coming back, right? Now, you see that everything around you has that essential quality, everything is coming out of that same essential quality, and it will go back to that same essential quality. So when you begin to see this thing, when you begin to experience this thing, you have naturally reached this stage of a parabhakti, right? Now you are at a very high level. Hence, this cannot be forced, it happens naturally. Keep doing your mechanical practices again and again and again and again, right? And after a few years, you will reach this stage on your own, right? Any doubts, queries, questions so far?
Or you said many years. Maybe it maybe happen not too many years.
Not, sorry, it might not.
Maybe not so many years. Maybe it may take some time, but not so many years.
Okay, so you are saying that it might happen sooner?
Yes.
Yes, so that depends on your level. Okay, so suppose you have practiced before, or because of some reason or the other. So this is a very a lot of factors influence this thing. It's not necessary that you require that much cleansing. Okay, so if you don't require that much cleansing, it might happen earlier also, right? And another thing that might happen, you might get glimpses of this thing when you are doing your practices, right? So suppose for the time that you are chanting a particular mantra or you are in the temple, you feel that thing, you feel very connected, you feel very close, right? And then it goes away when the circumstance changes, right? So it is possible that it can happen in any way. It can happen very soon also. So like for bhakts like Mirabai, right, Tulsidas, these are very strong and powerful bhakts, right? It is said that Mirabai, when she used to offer food to God, God actually used to come because the way in which she offered, the food, it was like God could not say no, right? So very interesting stories. If you read about bhakts, you will find beautiful and interesting stories about their lives, and but they are very at high level, right? So depending on your journey, maybe you can also uh, sooner you can, like, it might not take a lot of years for you. It's totally up to, it depends from person to person. It's not necessary it will take a lot of years, right? Sorry.
But if feel such close connection to many gods, like for Krishna also, and at the same time Shiva, and at the same time the Buddha, and for example, maybe also human teacher. Uh, is it possible, or only one is possible?
Okay, so it is possible that you can be in bhakti of multiple gods. However, for easier, like for so in Hinduism there are a lot of gods. Okay, it's not true for every tradition, right? So yes, people are devotees of many gods together, and that is also all right. And as long as the main thing, you are focused on the main thing, one, the act of devotion, And second, through those practices, you are also in the act of cleansing yourself, right? Because finally, this is what this thing is doing, right? Uh, being like, if I talk about human beings, right? So mostly human beings, they are like, God has particular, traits. Okay, God is free from the sufferings, right? So if you choose to devote yourself to another person, you have to be careful of this thing, that you are aware of the shortcomings. And generally bhakts devote themselves to gods only, right? Because human beings in general are flawed, right? So there are only incarnations of God that you choose to devote yourself to. Like Shivji, he came down in many forms, and then Krishna, he came down in the form of a lot of gods, right? So devoting yourself to those incarnations of God, it is okay. However, if you choose to devote yourself to people, right? So you have to know this thing that people are themselves flawed, right? So you can choose to do that, but it will not lead to the upgradation, right? So you are going into bhakti yoga to make yourself better, right? So the choice of the god should be like made carefully. And I see something else also. Yes, Ravan was also a very big bhakt of Lord Shiva, right? So you will see bhakts, you will, if you read about Ravan also. So Ravan was a very big bhakt of Lord Shiva, and as a result of that, even he acquired a lot of powers and siddhis, right? But then again, the intention was what, led him towards his demise, right? So uh, clear intention or good intention is again very important, because through the chantings, through the devotion, you will, yeah, yeah. Shiv and Ram are, as much as I know, Shiv and Ram are kind of um, best friends only, right? As far as I know, or I have been told. Right, so that is what I'm saying. There are so many stories, fables, of one having devotion towards the other one, right? And even we as friends, when you are friends with someone, you have some level of devotion towards them. Notice this thing, right? So there are many stories, fables about people being devoted. And bhakti yoga, that is why it's so interesting. Like today, you guys are like sharing these things with me. So uh, means that it is quite interesting and you have been in touch, right? So do any of you do any kind of practices, like when it comes to bhakti yoga, like prayer in your house or repetition of mantras on daily basis? Any one of you specifically you have been following for a long time?
Yes, I'm doing Buddhist practice. It is also like surrendering. So you do prostration in front of refuge tree. So you surrender your ego, your body, speech, and mind towards Lama, who is incarnation, and toward Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and all the deities like Green Tara, White Tara, and the other deities, and the protectors like Mahakala or Ganapati is also like in our tradition, the Ganapati was the student of Milarepa.
Okay, wow. All right. So you are pro practitioners. I'm just giving you the basic introduction, but okay, great. Anyone else? You have been devoted to Bhakti Yoga for some time. Oh wow, very nice. Great. Yeah, that is so good because everything in your life, it functions on faith only. If you have faith in it, if you have faith in yourself, then wonders will happen for you. So I believe Bhakti Yoga is a very essential part of life in itself, right? If you constantly believe that bad things are waiting for you, then that's where you are headed, and your belief system is something you build up, with time, and if you practice Bhakti Yoga, so you build that up, so you can choose to go in some direction. You can completely change your life, and in fact, even I have seen my life completely change as I have entered and stepped into the practices of Bhakti Yoga. So in my family, I told you, it was, is it possible for a person to be spiritual but not totally, totally. So I don't believe, I don't. Yeah, that is great. This is Bhakti Yoga only, chanting the mantras, any kind of mantra, in fact. So the thing about mantras and the chantings is whatever you like, you can do that, right? That's the point. No, it's like Amazon, and there's so many products on Amazon. There's so many gods. There's so many mantras. So why not choose the one which is most attractive to your personality? So I'll just speak briefly on the question which came before this. Is it possible to be spiritual and not religious? Absolutely. Spirituality is the. Oh wow! You should definitely come to the school. We have ISKCON meetups at the school. Yeah. So is spirituality and like religion, like can you be spiritual without being religious? Yes, as per my understanding so far, spirituality is just the essence of religion, of all the religions. If you go to most traditions and religions, there is some form of prayer that takes place, and also there is, some devotion and dedication that is required. Apart from that, other practices can vary. So, spirituality is just the essence of all of these practices, right? So, if because for a very long time I believed I was very spiritual, but I did not believe in religion at all, right? So religion is something we have mostly, for our understanding, we have come up with, right? Because it helps, right? That is my view. Okay. And spirituality is more about just recognizing everybody is a human, everybody is suffering, and what can we do to elevate the suffering? Yeah, go ahead. I saw you unmute. Okay. All right. Any other questions, doubts, queries that I can address? Okay. All right. So I'll close our session. So sit comfortably. Keep your back and neck straight. Very gently close your eyes. Just watch your breath and prepare yourself for Om chanting. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti. 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 Join your palms. Gently bow down. Rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile. Om Shanti, Namaste to everyone. I will see you for the pranayam class in the afternoon. So take care, guys, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. See you.
Take care. Bye-bye.